This is gonna be base, chat. Hrishi's about to blow our minds.
Hey folks, this is Riker, and at Gamescom 2023, I had a talk with game designer Hrishi at Grinding Gear Games about unique items and the philosophies behind designing unique items in Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2. We got some great insight into the design intent of uniques, how to set the right drop rates, and lessons learned over the years. We also talked about why set items are not something they want to pursue.
Goddamn, because they're not stupid,
Hi, my name is
bro.
Hrishi.
They ain't
I'm
stupid
a game
idiots.
designer at Grinding Gear Games. My current focus is
Set items are fucking trash.
on the itemization of Path of Exile 2. Although I've done a bunch of other design work, you know, limited to ascendancies, boss fights, that sort of thing. Although right now it's mostly tied to itemization of PoE 2, as I said. Yeah.
All right, so
He just made mind over matter, by the way, guys. He's just like, yo, I'm just gonna make mind over matter.
when we're talking about like unique items, that's something that's your wheelhouse.
It's gonna
right?
make it.
Absolutely, yeah. Most of the unique items since late 2016, I guess I've been involved in that have been in Path of Exile. So definitely, you know, something that I'm still very much involved in, and all the uniques that will be coming in Path of Exile 2 as well. So
shit.
definitely. Yeah.
Are you guys taking a different approach to uniques in PoE 2, or is it the formula you've sort of established?
We will be making some changes
Refined.
based on all the lessons we've learned over the years.
Refinement.
One of the things I've been lucky enough to do is by making so many items, I've been able to make so many enough mistakes to learn from them, you know? So learning from those mistakes, we'll try to, you know, at least try not to do it. But our general philosophy will be kind of the same, where we want uniques to be build enabling and not necessarily the best in slot for.
Oh my god, how hard is that, bro? I feel like this exact point that he's making right now is the literal opposite of what the D4 devs are literally doing to the game as we speak. Right, that point he just made there. Build enabling, but not necessarily best in slot. That's preach, brother, preach.
Everybody, as long as it's the best item for somebody. That's kind of where what we think is like a healthy place for uniques to be.
So when you're designing a unique, does the idea first come for like the build that you want to make the unique for, or is it first the unique and then you think about the build, or what's the whole process there? How does it start?
It's actually both those things, and sometimes even more. There are times when we make a unique and we don't have any idea what it's going to be used for. It's just a weird effect that will be a puzzle piece that will sit in the game for a while, and then 3 years down the line, someone will discover a way to use it.
Wait, chat, you're all going, but mage blood, mage blood. Well, they put items like mage blood in the game, and then they balance it with rarity, okay? So, yeah, it's like ultra giga best in slot or whatever, and it's completely overpowered. But they make it super fucking hard and ultra rare. So that's how they balance the item, which makes sense. That's the idea of a uber unique. Now, the funny thing is, D4 is putting uber uniques into the game, right? Well, their first implementation was complete trash because they basically just didn't exist. And now I feel like the second implementation, I think, is ultimately going to be a big L. I could be wrong, but by the way they're describing it, it sounds like they're going to be almost common, and it's going to be like staple items of every build, and you're just going to be like, oh yeah, for this build, you just go farm Duriel and you just equip this item, and then this is the item you use for this build because it's just the best in slot and so be. I feel like it's going to be the opposite of what they've done in PoE 2.
Sometimes we do have a build in mind, and we're like, what would be a cool unique for this kind of build, and we would then, you know, design it having that build in mind as well. And oftentimes it's just, sometimes it starts from the theme as well, where we don't have a build, but we have a theme of this is what the art of the unique looks like. Therefore, okay, when you see this unique, what do you think it would do? And you look at it and you're like, okay, I know it will do this. I don't know what build will use it, but it should do this. And then we go from there. So we try a lot of different approaches. Like one of the things I find very important with uniques is because we make so many, it's very important to make uniques that appeal to many different kinds of players. Because some players like to just use powerful items. Some people like to use weird, off-the-wall.
When we make uniques, it's what we try and do is we try and make it so it tells you exactly what you're supposed to do with it. And we have an intended playstyle, and it should just be used in this exact specific scenario that we're forcing you to play. It's basically a pseudo set bonus. I'm a D4 dev, by the way.
Type thing. Some people like to use uniques that are just cool and straightforward, you know? So we try to hit all those kind of player profiles, as it were.
And you're mentioning the art. So in general, is the artwork made first, and then you come up with the, like, is there, like the art team makes artwork, and then the unique team makes the items, and then you kind of find an art that matches the unique?
It goes back and forth.
So that only happens when we need to make uniques in a hurry. like we have a league that's coming out in 2 weeks and we need a few uniques, and then we're like, oh, we need some.
It's funny because like then it's like, oh shit, we need to make and implement uniques in literally 2 weeks and then release them, and then D4 like they're trying to add a fucking like Paragon Ball reset, but it takes like fucking 2 seasons, dog. Like what the fuck? I mean, dude, seriously, they tried to do one change. There's like, oh shit, we need to like literally design, test, and implement a bunch of uniques before a fucking league starts, and they just do it. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Art to get. Let's see what we can find, and we get something in. But when we go through the entire process, usually we try to involve the artists a bit, throughout the entire thing. So like either the artists have an idea of like what the unique is going to look like, and then we come up with the the mechanics to kind of fulfill their fantasy, or we already have the effect that we want to make in mind, and we say this is the effect. What do you think it would look like? And then we go from there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or sometimes, I even remember an example where we just thought of the name of the unique first, and we went from the name, because the name was like, we want an item that's called this, and then we go from there. So it can...
The behemoth skull of ball crushing. I can imagine a unique right there. Like it's like this fucking big skull, and it's got like this fucking device mechanism that comes up.
Can come from a lot of different places, but I would say it's most often mechanic first.
Boom.
And then we get the art made to suit the mechanic. That is probably the most
The nutcracker.
common one from my experience, at least. I don't know if that'll be the same in Path of Exile 2.
Nice one.
Because we already have the artists working on unique items for Path of Exile 2, and we haven't designed most of the uniques yet. So we are working on that as we speak, right? And once we finish the convention and everything, we'll go back and we'll start making them. So it might be more art first in Path of Exile 2, but we'll see how that goes.
So would it ever happen that like you're looking at a piece of art and that just inspires you to come up with an idea for a mechanic for that item?
Yeah, that actually happens a fair amount. Like, there are times when I've seen concept art that was sort of rejected, as in, for whatever reason, it may not have been good enough or something. And then, but that gives me an idea of what we can do. And then we're like, look, that concept art gave me this idea. Can we try to, repurpose it somehow and make it get used somewhere? And then we sort of go from there, yeah.
Is it you that establishes drop rates, or is that got handed off to a different design lead?
Yes, I do.
How do you go about figuring out the rarity?
It's not an exact science, but sometimes if a unique is very powerful,
rare.
We do restrict it by rarity.
Yep.
But it's not just power that determines the drop rate, because sometimes it's let's say a unique is very build enabling. It creates something really weird and fun. We sometimes try to make that more common than something that is more straightforward, even though the thing that is weird is a bit more powerful than something that's straightforward. So there's a little bit of, playing it by ear, I would say, where it's both the...
Being SSF gamer, that doesn't ring true to me. Gonna be honest, I've had a lot of builds that I want to do in SSF, and there's a unique that's just cuckolding me, and it's not even a fucking supposed to be like some crazy shit, but you just like can't get it. I.e., something like Eye of Innocence, the fucking ring that gives you life back when you take fire damage. All these things. I mean, I'm just saying, as an SSF gamer, that doesn't always ring true, Hrishi.
The build that it's going to be used for, the power level of the unique, and how simple it is, that sometimes plays a role as well, because you don't want very complicated uniques to be too common as well. Sometimes you want things that are very straightforward, because you... I place a lot of emphasis on when you pick up a unique, you read it, you should be able to immediately... Something should click in your mind to say like, oh, I could use it in this way, type of thing. And those uniques I like to have more common.
Wait, what's it called? The Moxuotol Shield. The fuck's it called? PoE. I can't even spell it, bro. Moxuotal's Machination. Why can't I fucking Control-V, Control-Z this? Let me close this one here, chat. I'm gonna pick up this unique and just easily understand this bad boy right here. I mean, let's... Okay, so wait. To be fair, that one just doesn't just drop. That drops from a super unique, specific boss in a place that you're never gonna... Like, if you get it, it's because you're in a place and you're trying to get it, right? You're just not gonna get that. But this is an example of, like, an item that's just like, you read this, I know what all these things do, and it still takes me like 2 minutes to digest and refresh my mind on like fucking everything that it does. You know, do you? I do. Yes. It's okay. Vile Pact, doubles life leech, stops regen, corrupted soul, life as extra ES with overleech, divine flesh, chaos. Divine Flesh is Chaos Res Max, goes up, elemental damage taken as Chaos, damage bypasses ES at a rate. Eternal Youth. Flasks work for ES maybe? Some shit. Immortal Ambition, Reverse Corrupted Soul. Dude, it's. I'm having to think way too hard right now. Okay.
As well. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of things that go into it, but you know, these are some of the things that we look at.
Are there any uniques that are in the game that you guys design and you're like, okay, we think people can use it like this, and none of the players have figured out a build with it yet?
Oh yes, there are, absolutely, and they do get figured out pretty often. So. There are many times where we make a unique and then 3 or 4 leagues down the line it gets used somewhere. So I'm sure there's still some things. I wouldn't be able to name one off the top of my head because there's so many, but this happens very often where we look at a build that someone has come up with and we're like, wow, that's awesome. We didn't even think of that, right? Because
that's the beauty of creating items that aren't designed for purpose, right? That's literally, it comes down to the fundamental design of, you know, when you compare the D4 design to the PoE design. You know, when you say this is exactly what it does and this is the only application it can be used for, well, there's no room for like breaking a game or doing some insane shit, which is just like what I love that the PoE devs embrace and that I hate that the D4 devs are so slow to pick up on. Straight up.
Like I said, we put these puzzle pieces into the game hoping that someone will come up with a way to do it. We don't know how it's going to be used. We just, we want that exploration to be there to let people find that for themselves. Because that is how some people like to enjoy the game. That is what gives them the most fun playing Path of Exile.
That's me.
And at what point would you decide to rework a unique? Like, would it be after a certain number of years of no one finding a way to work it into like a powerful build, or?
Usually when we decide to rework a unique, it's because it either doesn't fulfill the role that we intended it for, and it isn't fulfilling another role that sort of unintentionally came up. So like, let's say we made a unique that was meant to be, say, powerful from level 40 to 60, and it's not used for that at that level range for whatever reason it is, and it's also not used for like whatever weird effect it does, then we kind of think to ourselves that, well, it sort of failed the straightforward thing, and it failed the like.
What do we got here? PoE puts puzzle pieces into the game so people like Dan and Jim Rogan can make builds for Steel Mage. Okay, dude, that's toxic, mate. That's toxic to Steel Mage. What the fuck, dude?
Being used for like a weird thing. So let's try to either push it in one direction or the other to try to emphasize what it's doing. We don't, like if there's a unique that's just weird and meant to be used for weird builds or something, we don't necessarily tend to buff those because of power reasons, because if they're still used for those weird builds, it's still fulfilling that purpose. But yeah, if it's not being used for either of them, that's more of a thing.
Unique.
A way I try to look at them is, so let's say there are 20 people that find a unique. It's more important to me that one person really loves a unique rather than 10 people just kind of liking it. Because there are so many uniques that as long as someone really loves every single one, it's a stronger sort of reaction to many people just kind of, being lukewarm about it. So that's kind of how we like to, which is why we like try to push it in like certain, like, people who like to play this way would like to use it for this type of thing.
Okay.
Strong.
And overall, do you feel that uniques are in the right place of how often they're used in builds? Do you want to see them used more often? Do you feel they're being used too often?
I'm assuming you mean in Path of Exile 1, right? Yeah. I would say I'm generally happy with them. There are definitely some particular uniques that I would like to see being used more, some that maybe would like to be used less and whatever. But in general, I think overall, I do think they play a very a role that I'm pretty happy with. Yeah, I would say so.
There's always some autistic fucking Andy trade league build, which is running around with like fucking every single slot is a unique. And you know, they're wearing like a crown of ice with Iron Fortress, with the Iron Will gloves, whatever the Repentance gloves with like fucking 5 voices on, and you know, I'm saying, I must admit, it kind of is me though. What can I say? I am a bit of a unique Andy, and it's to my own detriment. I do like unique items. And now, is that because I was such a D3 enjoyer that I just have a, you know, proclivity to naturally go towards things that are unique? There's no doubt. I do like unique items. Okay, and I probably do use them a little bit too often.
Which is a big reason why we're at least, I mean, mistakes aside, we feel following the same philosophy going into PoE 2 is a good thing. Yeah.
Now, set items are not in PoE. No plans to put them in PoE 2.
No. We kind of feel that we sort of have set items in the form of unique synergies.
Preach.
It's almost like we would like people to find those sets themselves, like sort of explore and find, hey,
bro.
unique A works really well with unique B, rather than us saying, you know, this is a set, they work well together. That's kind of how we feel that makes it a bit more interesting in that way, because one of the issues we have with sets is that once you have a set on, it's really hard to replace one of the pieces.
It's not modular.
Those all pieces sort of become, you know,
it's not modular
character, which is one thing we kind of like to avoid.
It becomes mandatory.
But we still try to have sets in the form of synergies, like I said.
Okay.
Synergies means you can hop swap bits in and out as well, and you can create your own customizable. I mean, that's what it is, right? Your character. It's like your own customized set bonus. And if you're not using one aspect of a build, you can just remove that, and then you can have more benefits in other areas, which is just like fucking amazing. I mean, bro, he needs to shit on set bonuses more. I would like the Riker. You need to ask him. You need to bait him into saying questions that are just basically see where he says D4 bad. Okay, I'm gonna need you to do that.
Now, you mentioned a couple times lessons learned over the years. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Oh, that is a very good question. One of the things I've definitely learned is we've sometimes tried to make another unique that fulfills a similar role to something that was previously used, because we were unhappy with the previous one for whatever reason. Maybe it was too rare, maybe there was some other reason. And what ends up happening is it sort of erodes the identity of both uniques at the same time, because they both feel like imitations of each other based on whatever someone finds first. So one thing we're definitely going to try to do in PoE 2 is make it so if a particular unique has like an identity of what it's going to do, we will try to make sure nothing else will do that, so that when you think of a special effect, you must only think of that one item, not, there's a few items that do that, because that, I feel like that sort of loses some of its charm, I say. Yeah, that's one lesson I immediately came to mind.
All right. When talking about, let's say, the idea of super uniques, god drops, you know, Mirror of Kalandra,
yeah,
how do you figure out what the right drop rate is that feels good for the player base?
Yeah, that's actually a very tricky one to do, and oftentimes we have to iterate over multiple leagues to try to get it right.
Well, they can't get it right because they always fucking balance the game around dog shit ass trade league, bro, instead of balancing the game around fucking SSF like they should. Okay, so they always get the drop rate wrong, and they always make everything fucking too rare. Okay, facts, straight facts on a stack, homie.
Because if it's
facts on a stack
too rare, it almost doesn't exist in the game, and then that's you sort of forget about it. But you don't want it to be so common that it's no longer like a special thing when it happens. When someone finds a Mirror of Kalandra, maybe they've only found it once in their lifetime, but that one moment is special to them. If they found a Mirror of Kalandra 5 or 6 times, the third or fourth time is less special than the first one, even though it is still rare and it is still valuable. It doesn't hold a similar sort of place as like the one Mirror of Kalandra.
I never
like
found
anyone
that.
Who has found one can probably remember the league which it dropped and what they were doing when it dropped, and that is a feeling we really like to try to capture. So yeah, it's a very tricky process to work out exactly what it is, because the other problem is too, because we have open trade, the size of the player base also sometimes determines how many of these items are in circulation.
Yeah.
And so sometimes there is a drop rate, but because, let's say,
Just admit
30%
it.
more players than the previous league played, they would be, more of those items in
Admit
circulation.
it. I mean, he's basically saying, yeah, we balance around Trade League right now. That's what he's saying, because he hits the balance around the size of the player base, hence about people trading, hence they balance the fucking drop rate around Trade League, hence fucking Trade League bad.
So there's a very tricky balance that we've tried to, hit for a very long time.
Yeah.
Where does the math come in like deciding like the 0.0001% drop? Like how do you even come to a number of what to input in the sort of drop rate?
It's usually based
Vibe it
on,
out.
so we have precedents of like other items that drop that are similarly rare. Now, obviously, you could ask me how it was the first one determined, but that was such a long time ago, and there was a way to do that. But usually we try to use existing precedents and then go from there, assuming we feel that precedents
Like
is
half a
correct.
mage blade.
So let's say the drop rate of a mirror is something, and we're like, okay, we know how rare this is. We can use that
What's
as
a mirror?
like a baseline.
What is a mirror? Is a mirror like, what, 15 Mage Bloods or something? What's a mirror? Like, how is a mirror like 15 Mage Bloods? Like, what, like, if they're scaling it, like, as rare as a 15 Mage Bloods? Like, would to get one mirror, would it be like 15 Mage Bloods drop natty? Well, I'm not saying the value of a mirror. I'm saying the rarity of a mirror. I mean, to be fair, you could calculate it based on the value. I mean, yeah. Right now it's 2. One mirror is one mirror. Checo's like 100 mirrors. Watching this has emphasized how hilarious it is that Quinn thinks D4 will be quote-unquote good by season 4. I did not. Shut the fuck up. I said, dude, I probably got that angle wrong. I'm thinking like season 6. Season 7 is my prediction for the game's going to be like, it's going to be 8. But maybe it could be, just completely mediocre, aggressively mid at season 4. That's what I was saying, aggressively mid. The intelligence development team has less talent and creativity, overall intelligence than Hrishi. Hrishi's pet dog. Wait, you calling Hrishi a pet dog? You're saying, wait, what the fuck? What the fuck?
For how we want something else.
Hrishi's based, dude. This guy's based. I feel like, you have one good guy with one vision, right? You have one guy, right, with one vision, okay, and he's got a good, and he has principles that they're unmoving, right? And then you set him there, and he just goes, no, that item's bad because X, Y, and Z. Yes, this item's good, but double down on this, right? I feel like that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? I feel like having someone like this in a position of power is really powerful, and I feel like it's not a small deal. Like, I feel like if you have one Hrishi, if you got one Hrishi and put him in the itemization department of Diablo 4 would be literally so much better every single fucking patch. Like, every patch, just one Hrishi. Not even a full team, just one.
To drop. That's usually the safest way to do it, rather
Hrishi will not kill himself, okay? We worked at Blizzard, all right, dude, stop.
than just, throwing a number at a dartboard and trying to make sure it hits. So that's usually, that's the way we try to do it. It's the same for many other things too, like, balance of a new skill. We sometimes use existing skills as like a baseline to think, because if we make a new skill, there's probably a similar skill existing in the game somewhere that we can use rather than starting from scratch each time. So we try to use the strategy in a few places.
Doesn't always work out. Doesn't always pan out for you.
Has there ever been an item that you were really excited about making, and then the community just kind of didn't jump on it the way you'd hoped they would?
Oh, it's happened many times, but I wouldn't even be able to tell you an example because of, like I said, I've made so many uniques over time, and sometimes I feel like I've released something and it's like, man, this is just so broken, but then nobody uses it, and sometimes I'm just wrong, right? Like, I think something is broken for a particular reason, but maybe someone else determines why it wouldn't be used correctly, and then I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that's sort of a thing. And look, there's so many items that we're bound to make mistakes here and there, but it does happen for sure.
I'll be honest, they always release uniques. I feel like the majority of new uniques that enter the game are just fucking dog shit trash. Like, they always like, oh, look, new unique, and it's like, what the fuck is this? One elk unique. So actually, I was like, what 1C unique, bro? Like, what the fuck? What am I looking at, right? I feel like it's for the majority. But then again, that's fair enough, right? Because you don't, I'm sure, but then you see it, you see it and like, oh, but this would be good with X build or Y build, which is exactly what they're going for, right? They're going for things that are good in niche, like, dominate niches.
And again, like you mentioned earlier, there are times when we feel something is weak,
OP, then.
and then it gets used in this way, and we're like, wow, what did we just do? What monster have we released into the game, That sort of thing. So it happens both ways. And it is going to happen, and as long as we have all these various sort of interactions in place, and we want this to be there. It's very important, and it's very fun for some people to feel like they're breaking the game. And we want that feeling to exist. Yeah. Like even me as as a player, when I'm playing a game and I find something that I'm like, the developers didn't intend this, right? And that is like a very exciting feeling.
That is the best feeling in the game. That is the best feeling in the game. I'm telling you, like that secret build, the secret build vibe of like, oh yeah, this is definitely, no one was ever meant to do this. But often those cunts fucking knew you would do it like that, but they just don't tell you that. But that's good because they're Ultra 5-head devs. Who cares? All that matters is the illusion is unbroken. All right, and that's the beauty of designing items that aren't designed for purpose and are more general and can be used in many different scenarios, right? People can think that they're actually breaking the game, or they can actually just break the game, legit.
That happens, yeah.
Right. When you're designing a unique, are there any like particular favorite kinds of uniques that you like to design, or anything that makes you like really excited or more excited than normal to start developing?
Usually, it's when it enables something people have never seen before. Whenever we hit upon an idea that's like, wow, we've never done something like this before, and we start thinking, wow, we're going to blow people's minds when we release this. Those are all...
Dude, what do we make an item where it makes projectiles like return, bro? That'd be so puggies, man. Holy shit, everyone would love that. No one's ever done that before. Fucking just makes every single build in the game fucking double damage that has a projectile, dude.
Always the most exciting.
Oh my god.
Because even though there are many uniques we make that aren't this way, and it's impossible to make, I think the number of uniques we have is over 1,000, and we can't have every single one be something people have never seen before. So as long as they, feel unique enough. But when we make these are the...
What do you... What I'm saying is, yeah, it's like they're talking. I'm giving an example of a unique where like that's something they've never done before, and but at the same time, it was clearly way broken, and they underestimated how broken it was going to be. Like that specific mechanic, because they didn't implement it in a balanced way. They didn't implement in a like, oh yeah, this is good in a niche set of cases. It was like, oh no, just switch from your current ability to an ability that has a projectile tag associated with it, and your build will just do double damage instantly. That's a problem.
The ones that truly...
now, they've rectified the situation by nerfing the shit out of it like 3 times now, but yeah.
Stand out in my mind in when I think back to all the uniques that we've made.
Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, so in PoE 2, we are hoping to make sure every base type has a corresponding unique to it, which means a lot of new uniques to make over the next few months.
Dude, that'd be so fun.
As soon as we're done with Gamescom
that'd
PAX,
be so fun.
That's going to be one of the major projects that I'm going to be working on.
Imagine how sick that would be to turn up to work and your job is to design unique items for computer games. Oh my god, that would just be so much fun. Like that sounds like such a cool fucking job. That would sound such a cool fucking job. Like, you getting to make unique items for part of it. You get to make it. Oh my god, bro. Oh, I would fucking pop off. To be fair, it would probably be harder than it sounds. Because you'd have like a few ideas. You have like 4 ideas of really good items. And then you'd probably just run out of ideas. And then you'd be like, fuck. But then what? What would you do? You just go talk to people. Have meetings with your boys. Discuss ideas. Every time someone has a puggy idea, you'd be like, holy shit, that's a good idea. You'd write it down. You'd have a list. I mean, bro, that would be sick. I mean, dude, that sounds like such a fun job.
There will be a lot of people's old favorites from Path of Exile 1 moving over because,
Oh, yeah, play other games, dude. Get inspiration from other games, unique items. Like, because they can totally do that. And they've done that, right? 100%. I mean, yeah, PoE just gets inspiration from entire genres, right?
You can't imagine a Path of Exile game without a Headhunter or Chevron's Wrappings or Combs Heart or some things like that. But at the same time, we want a lot of new ones too. So when PoE 2 actually releases, there's going to be, I hope, like a few weeks of like intense discovery when you find all these things that people have never seen before, and you know, people talking about how do we best use this with this thing and this and everything. And I'm really looking forward to that.
I hope they don't ruin it, bro. I hope it comes out and everyone can play. I hope they don't have some ultra closed beta with this full access to the game and everyone like fucking has access to, you know, and it gets all solved and then the game actually starts. And then it's already fucking everyone. That would be dumb. Then again, there would be so many uniques that it would overwhelm people, and there's no possible way they could utilize all items. Not just ExileCon. No. They're only showing a few items. They haven't showed like. It'd be like, you know, what I'm saying is that I don't like it when they just like the game comes out pre-solved. I hope they keep a lot of that shit hidden and secret, and then, you know, slap it in on the launch and everyone just goes in and it's just like people are just finding items. It's fucking crazy. Nobody knows what's going on. What the fuck's happening, dude? That would be goddamn sick, bro. For real.
When it comes out, because that's to me is my favorite part of any game release. When when it's brand new, nobody knows anything and everyone's figuring it out as they go. And learning, and everyone's learning together as like a community.
He knows.
That's like my favorite part, and I can't wait to.
He knows. I hope they don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up, man. Don't fuck it up. Like, I mean, it's not up to him. It's up to Chris and that. I mean, I think Chris is base, and he would know that. I mean, to be fair, they literally do that. You know, the fact they raw dog expansion launches, and it's like they've had like a closed beta, but it's not public, and then no other tryhard guys are allowed access to it. I mean, that's the best way of doing it, honestly. And yes, the trade-off is the game comes out and it's a bit more bugged, and there's a few areas and it crashes a little bit. But that's a fine trade-off to have the, you know, the excitement and the feeling of the unknown existing, right? 100% it's worth it.
Wait for that to happen.
Awesome. Is that a big reason as well that you guys don't do like a test server before releasing a league?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is. We love it when you know, when it releases for the first time and everything is not already solved. Like, that is something I feel very strongly about, because there are obviously some people that prefer it to be solved before they play.
That's shit.
But there are some people whose favorite moments are discovering things.
Those guys have they got tiny little peepees. Tiny little. If you like a game to be sold before it comes out, you have a tiny little micro peen, and you're a beta little bitch. Fuck you. All right, fuck you.
You go, and you can only have that moment once, because once the thing is out, that moment is gone forever. So keeping that moment is very, very important to me. So I want that to be there, and I hope people will enjoy it when it does happen. The people that love to discover these things.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
So he's passionate.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Look how passionate he is.
Yeah. It was really nice chatting with you.
It makes sense, because he likes the game he plays and he works on, and he really enjoys. I mean, dude, he's got a sick job. Like, being the unique guy, what a sick job, bro. I'm actually, bro. Bro. That is like the best type of game design job to have, man. Holy fuck.
Because he is God game.